All right, we are love. So just a quick reminder to find the geometric mean. All you do is multiply the two numbers, take the square root of it. That's how you find the geometric mean. Okay? Now, we're going to be talking today. I told you he's going to want some note-taking paper or like to write some stuff down. And if you're a note-taker, this is part of what you're going to want to write down. Okay? If you're not a note-taker, just pay attention. All right. So let's say that we have a big old right triangle. This is our right angle right here. And let's name this A, B, C. Okay? And then let's say that we take and we make a altitude. And remember, an altitude has to meet at a 90-degree angle from the other side and go straight up, right? Right there. Let's call this point D right here. Do you see what happened when we drew that line right there? What happened? How many? Two more, right? So we now have 3 triangles. Well, here's the deal, Pickles. Those 3 triangles are all similar to each other. I'm going to prove it to you, but before I prove it to you, I just wanted you to know they are all similar to each other. So I'm going to resketch each one of the triangles pulled out here to where they're like all facing the same direction and stuff. So we've got the big guy, right? We've got this one. That's our 90-degree angle. That's A, that's B, that's C. Now, see this little guy right here? Here's his 90-degree angle. So, and I'm going to draw the short side right here, the long side on that side. That's his 90-degree angle. Now, his short side, he goes to A right there, right? And then his longer side is up here to this C. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Notice how our little triangle and our great big triangle share angle A. Do y'all see that? How they share that angle? That means that that angle has to be the same in both of them because they both have it. Now, I want to point out, they're both at point C, but they don't share angle C. Because angle C for the big one is this full 90-degree angle. And for the little one is just this piece. Y'all see what I'm saying? Now, remember when we learned about angle similarity? So if you've got these 2 angles that are congruent, what do you know about this third angle? They also have to be congruent, which means that these 2 triangles are similar. Y'all with me? And then we've got this medium-sized triangle, right? I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So we've got this medium-sized triangle. We're going to orient it the same way, where that's the 90-degree angle there. This is its short side. Now, if you look at that medium size, see how its short side is right here? So its short side goes from D is its right angle, C is where its short side is. Is it bad?
Pretty bad.
I wonder why. It's probably because I'm live. Or running OBS. Like, we're just going to roll with it. Okay, and so then B is the angle that they share. So B is the same here as it is over here. Right? They both have that 90-degree angle. So what do we know about this other angle they have? What do they have to be? If they share 2 angles that are the same, what do we know about the third angle? It's also the same. So see how we have 3 similar triangles? You'll see how those 3 triangles are similar there? Everybody with me? David, wake up, bud. Wake up. I know you wasn't actually asleep, but you was like so zoned out. Does everybody see what I'm talking about? Now, We're going to call this side little a. See how it's across from A? We're going to call this side little b because it's across from B. And then we're going to call this full side down here little c. All right? We're going to call this piece X. We're going to call this piece Y. We're going to call this piece, let's call it H. Okay, I think that's what your book does. H. Okay? So if we label our triangles we have pulled apart here, this is B, this is A, this is C. Right? This little piece right here on this little triangle is X. This little piece on our little triangle is H. And this little piece on our little triangle is B. Y'all with me? And then on our medium-sized triangle, this piece right here, that's H. This piece right here is Y. And then this piece over here is A. See how that's across from that right angle right there? Okay, does everybody see where I got those letters from? I didn't make that crap up. That's what they are up here. Okay? Now, since we know these three triangles are similar, we know that their ratio of their sides has to be the same. Because it's what we know about similar triangles. We learned that last week, or week before last, right? So that means if I set up short side to long side for every one of them, that would be A over B. Nope, I just said that backwards, didn't I? That would be B over A is going to be equal to X over H, which is going to be equal to H over Y. Those three ratios would all be the same because we're doing short side to long side, short side to long side, short side to long side. Right? Those all have to be equal. Y'all with me? Now, I want to look at just this part of it for just a minute. What do you notice about that part right there? What we got? What do you notice about it? What jumps out at you? We got two H's in there, don't we? So what if we were to solve that for H? H being our altitude, right? So if we were to solve this for H, all we have to do is cross multiply. So what is X times Y? How do we write that? We just write XY or X times Y, right? And then what is H times H? What is it when you multiply something times itself? What is that? Squared. So we put H squared, right? Now, once again, I'm still trying to solve for H. I still want to get H by itself. How do I unsquare stuff? Square root it. So squaring and square rooting are opposites, like multiplying and dividing are opposites, right? So we're going to take the square root of both sides. So H, which is our altitude, is equal to the square root of X times Y. Does that look a little bit familiar to you? Do you recall yesterday doing something where we multiplied two numbers and took the square root of them? What was it called? Do y'all remember? It's the name of your worksheet. It's called the geometric mean. So, if we want to find the altitude of that triangle, all we have to do is find the geometric mean of those two pieces right there. That's it. So if we go back to, let's jump down to number 11. We're going to skip 7 through 10 for a minute. We'll come back to them. But jump down to number 11 with me. I want to zoom in. So if we want to find Z right here, all we have to do to find Z is do the geometric mean of 3 and 9. So we're going to do the square root of 3 times 9. And you can just punch that right in your calculator if you want to. What'd you get? let's go to the 10th. Let's go to the nearest 10th today. So our approximate answer is 5.2. That's to find Z. Right? All right, let's look at 12. If we want to find x is our altitude. We're going to do the square root of what? 4 times 10, right? So what's that going to get us? Round to the nearest 10th. Brandon says it's 6.3. Okay, look at 13. If we want to find x, that's our altitude. X is the square root of what? $15 times 4. What is that? 7.7. Okay, look at 14. Y'all tell me what to do on this one. This one's tricky, huh? So on this one, they actually gave you...
U of A Fort Smith will be in the Career Center from 11 to 1 today. And also, remember that Herb Jones will be here also today. Thank you.
They actually gave you the altitude this time. So we're going to put it in. The altitude is 5. Now, how do we find the altitude? Well, we multiply these two numbers and take the square root of it. That means we have x times 2, but we're taking the square root of it, right? Now we're just going to work backwards. So how do you unsquare root something? We got to get rid of that first. So we're going to square it. But if I do it to one side, I got to do it to the other. So that means over here I've got to square 5. So that gives me 25 equals x times 2. Because that squared and that square root cancel each other. Then what do I do? Divide by 2. So what is x? 12.5. Y'all see how that works? Now, I'm sure some of you have noticed there were other variables in there we haven't solved for yet, right? We're not done. So we're going to go back to our paper for a minute. So this is, you're going back to note taking if you're a note taking kind of person, right? And let me zoom back out. And so what we did earlier was we compared short side to long side. But if you look at the other things we're missing on our diagrams, we're missing like this side and this side right here. If we look at our diagram here, that's the short side and the long side of our big triangle. But if you look at our little triangles, those pieces, those A's and B's, are the hypotenuses. You see what I'm saying? So if we set up a ratio with the hypotenuse of the big side, so this hypotenuse, which is C, right? So if we put hypotenuse over short side, right? So I don't know why I put a H. I'm a crazy person, and I should have put a C. If we put a C, Brandon, I'm so sorry. I know you're having to do all kinds of erasing because I can't, function. So we put a C over X, right? That is, no, oh my gosh, Brandon, don't write anything yet, okay? Just wait just a second. Let me get my brain in gear, and then I'll tell you when it's okay to write it. Okay, if we do the hypotenuse of our big one, that's C, to the short side of our big one, which is B, right? Hypotenuse over short side. Hypotenuse over short side. That has to equal our hypotenuse of our little one, which is B, over our short side of our little one, which is X. All right, Brandon, I really have it this time. Okay, do y'all see what I'm saying? And what do you notice about this? We got two b's. So we can cross multiply and solve for b. So when we cross multiply here, we're going to have b times b is b squared. And then c times x. Right? And then how do you get b by itself? Square root it. Huh? Does this look familiar to you? Look like something we've done before. So if we want to find this b right here, to find this b, we're going to take the c, which is the whole length here, and multiply it times the x, which is this piece, and then take the square root of it. So we're going to find the geometric average of the x and the c. So we're going to take the whole c and the x, multiply them, and take the square root of it. Guess what's going to happen on the other side? What's your best guess? How are we going to find a? What do you think we're going to do? Any ideas? I'm going to show it to you, but yes, you're right. So let's say we do the hypotenuse over the long leg. Okay? So hypotenuse over the long leg. So the hypotenuse of the big one is C, and the long leg of the big one is A. Right? And that has to equal the hypotenuse of the medium one, right? And the long leg of the medium one, right? So if we cross multiply, we've got a squared equals c times y. And then we take the square root of both sides to get a by itself. So if we're wanting to find this guy, we're going to do the square root of c times y. This side is the square root of c times x. Now your variables may not be the same in your problem. You have to pay attention to where they're at on the shape, right? So if we go to our shape, go to number 11, and we'll zoom in. Now, this is x, what we have been calling x. This is what we have been calling y, right? This is what we've been calling a. This is what we've been calling b. Y'all see what I'm saying? What would be what we've been calling c? All of that. Do we know all of that? We could find it. All we got to do is add them together, right? So it's 9, 10, 11, 12. So all of that is 12, and that's what we've been calling C, right? So if we want to find A, which is their X, we're going to set up where X equals, we're going to do the square root of 12 times 3. Does everybody see where I got those numbers from? What is that? 6, straight up 6, right? And then if we want to find y, what we've been calling b, y, we're going to do the square root of 12 times 9. This 12 times that 9. What is that? 10.4. So that's approximate, right? We had to round. Y'all see it? Okay, so look at number 12. If we want to find this z, that z right there, what do we find the geometric mean of? $14 and $10. Good, Brandon. So you're just going to plug that in your calculator. Yes, sir. Yeah. Just plug that in your calculator. What you got? 11.8. Okay. What do we want to find y? What are we plugging in for y? 14, because that's the whole thing here, right? 14's the whole thing. And 4. $7.5. Okay. Look at 13. We want to find, let's do z first. What do we do to find z? $19 times 4. $8.7. And then what if we want to find y? 19 and 15. Because those added together are 19. 16.9. Everybody seeing? Okay. What about 14? Let's say we want to find z. Now we found this x earlier. What was it? 12.5. So we can use that number, right? So we want to find z. What are you going to... 14.5 times 12.5. Because this whole thing is 14.5. What you got? 13.5. Okay. And if we want to find y, what's y going to be? $14.5 times 2. And what's that get you? 5.4. Okay, y'all see how simple that math is? Now, let's scroll back up here to 7 through 10, because evidently 7 through 10 is the hardest part for y'all. So, on our test that we took last week, you were supposed to write a similarity statement. And most people wrote something like, the triangles are similar. Or, this triangle is bigger than that triangle. Y'all, a similarity statement for any shape is when you use math to label the triangle or name the triangle or the square or the rectangle or whatever, and then you say it's similar with a math symbol to the other one, putting their congruent angles in order. So if we were to name this big guy, right? We can name him whatever we want to. But let's say we name him triangle ABC. And we say he is similar. Now he's similar to 2 other triangles, so we've got to put them all in there. We're going to put one at a time. Let's do the little one first. So if we say he's similar to this triangle, we have to list the angles in order of congruence. Now, I think personally the easiest way to do this is to start with what angle do they share? What angle do they both have? So if we look at the big angle, the big triangle and the little triangle, which angle do they both have? A. So A has to be in the same spot. Then look at where's their right angle. So where's their right angle at? D is this one, but what's this one? C. So where we have a C, we're going to put a D, because it's where they both have the right angle. And then your third angle just goes there. So what's the third angle? C.
The lady from U of A, Fort Smith, is set up over in the Career Center if anyone would like to see her.
And then we're going to do another similarity symbol. And we're going to do triangle again. And then we'll name the medium-sized triangle. And I have to zoom out. I got that zoomed in too far. Okay, so What triangle does the big one, or what angle does the big one and the medium one share? They share B, don't they? So we're going to put B in the middle because it matches up with that B. What is the right angle for the little medium one? D. So D is going to go where the right angle is for this one, which is C. So it's going to go over here, right? And then what goes here? What's the other angle? C. So C goes there. Do y'all see how that works? That's how you write a similarity statement. Okay? A similarity statement isn't a sentence that says these triangles are similar. A similarity statement is when you use math abbreviations to say they're similar, but when you say they're similar, you have to match up the angles that match up. All right? So let's do one more of these. Just make sure everybody gets it. So how are we going to name this one? How are we going to name this big old guy? What do you want to name him? Triangle EFG? Triangle EFG is similar to, let's do the little one first. So what do they share? E. Where's the 90-degree angle for the little one? And what's the 90-degree angle for the big one? So where G is here, we're going to put H there. So what goes in the middle? G. Okay, and then we'll do similar to triangle. Which angle do they share? The big one and the medium one. They share F, right? So F stays in the middle. What's the 90-degree angle for the medium one? H. And G's the 90-degree angle for the big one, so H goes here, right? And then what is the other angle for the medium one? G. And that's it. So your assignment is going to be this page on the back, 1 through 10. You can use a calculator, and you can round to the nearest 10. Okay? There is not an interactive worksheet yet. I will have it ready for you tomorrow, and you just put your answers in then. Okay? I don't know how much time y'all have, but you have about 8 minutes, 7 minutes.